Okay, I'm going to say a few things about TILMA, which hasn't really been discussed about today. The Trade, Investment, and Labor Mobility Agreement between Alberta and BC, and they are trying to get other provinces on board with this agreement. What it's for, they have perceived that there are barriers to trade, labor, and labor mobility between these provinces. The fact is, those barriers don't exist. The Trade, Investment, and Labor Mobility Agreement has already passed in the Alberta legislature without much debate. The MLAs who have spoke out about it have been ignored and marginalized. The truth about TILMA, it is unconstitutional because it imposes financial penalties on the lawful actions of democratically elected governments to protect their citizenry and their environments from the damaging actions of corporations. For example, if one municipality deems a certain fertilizer is damaging to the environment and that fertilizer is banned, that municipality will be under threat of legal action because under TILMA, this lawful action of government will be seen as a threat to the investments of certain individuals. In short, TILMA represents the destruction of government as led by the people. TILMA represents the creation of a corporate constitution whereby the richest corporations are able to hold the greatest political clout in our province. The concerns of the people will be marginalized and replaced by an unelected TILMA dispute panel with the authority to impose penalties as high as $5 million, thus hampering the actions of democratically elected governments. This is why TILMA is wrong and TILMA should be repealed in the Alberta legislature. Thank you. I couldn't do this today without mentioning the crimes of 9/11. 2 days ago was the 7th anniversary of these crimes. Some people might prefer if I had sidestepped this fact. However, many of these issues revolve around this tragic event. The scapegoat for greater security controls under the anti-terrorism legislation in our country was 9/11. Because of those greater controls, I simply have to mention the extraordinary rendition case where Maher Arar was deported to Syria and tortured. He was deported under the suspicion of terrorism. There was no proof against him. He was not given a fair trial. This should not be happening in Canada. The reasoning behind the SPP, the security measures of the Security and Prosperity Partnership, is 9/11. What they want to do is bring American-style security into Canada while bringing Canadian resources into America. This all behind the backs of the people. These agreements are being conducted in secret behind closed doors. The Prime Minister is going as a private individual. He is not going as a representative of this country. One of the original reasons for the Iraq War was a false link between Saddam Hussein and Al-Qaeda, who carried out the 9/11 attacks. The reason for Afghanistan, for us being in Afghanistan, is for retribution for 9/11. The main reason I bring this up is because there are still unanswered questions about the event of 9/11. Why were no fighter jets scrambled? Why were the investigations into Mohammed Atta, one of the hijackers, obstructed by military lawyers prior to the attack? How did Building 7 collapse into its own footprint and symmetrically if it were not even hit by a plane? And the list goes on. Some of these questions have even been posed by the families of the victims of 9/11. I'm not here to declare a conspiracy. All I'm saying is that there are unanswered questions, and so much revolves around the attacks of 9/11, and the Canadian government hasn't even done its own investigation. And there should be a new investigation. If there is, the potential exists to bring our troops out of Afghanistan and to halt the SPP agreements, to repeal the anti-terrorism legislation.
Yeah.
So we should all wake up and take a look into this event, instead of just believing what the United States government wants us to believe, because they have fabricated evidence in the past, and why wouldn't they do it again? Thank you all for coming. It was a good